It is finally that time of year. It is starting to warm up. It's not freezing at night as often, so we are going to go get our beets and our onions planted if we have enough time. I'm going to start with the beets, and then if we have time, we'll get to the onions. I need to run around the farm and go find all the things that I need to do. So we need some hoops to protect the beets because the deer ate all of our beets last year. So I'm going to put some hoops with some netting over it. And then I need to find a hose so we can get it watered a little bit because it's not going to rain for about a week. So let me go find all those parts and I will meet you down by the bed. Here's the hoops we need, or hopefully they'll work. Let's take these down to the bed. Let's see if these hoops work before I get things planted. I think it's a little bit wider than I need. So let's see if I can pull these apart. These are pretty cool. They're quite adjustable for whatever size you need. And they bend or they can tighten up. Alright, so I think that'll work for what we need. We don't necessarily need it to be too strong, we just need it to hold some netting to keep the deer from the plants. Next, we're going to go through and poke some holes. For onions and beets, you can plant 12 plants per square foot. So I'm going to poke holes everywhere where there is a red mark. So there's one set. I'm going to go all the way down and then we will get the beets planted. Let's get our seed snail unrolled. This is how I started my beets this year. This is the first time of using a seed snail. I usually just pop them in trays and try to grow them individually. So let's see. Alright, so these outside ones definitely don't have a lot of roots, but I guess let's see what it looks like as we get further in. And they are a little tangled because they do have a lot of greenery up top. So some of them did get some good size to them as far as the roots. We'll plant them. Let's see what happens. The way we're going to get these planted is we are just going to plant right to where the roots stop, and then this is where the bulb should grow for the beet. So I like to just grab a pokey stick, put it next to it, and then just push the root all the way down. Pull the soil up and around it, and that's how I'm going to plant it. Obviously, once I have this all planted, I will work on getting it watered, but All right, here's another one with a root. I'll set it next to, give a little poke down, pull the soil up and around it, and I will do that until this bed's filled, and I'll show you what it looks like. If these beets do well, I would grow them in a seed snail again. They were a little bit of a pain to get them untangled, but most of them have a lot more growth to them than if I would have just started them in a regular seed tray. So the jury is out. We've got 2-3 months before we know if this method worked well. I am going to do a side-by-side comparison. I'm going to throw some seeds in the ground down there and see how they grow compared to these ones, because some of these stems are a little wonky in their shape, so I don't know if that's going to affect the way the beets grow or form. So we will try them both. Stay tuned and we'll see which one is best. Let's take a peek at how well the onions did in the seed snails. So looking at the top of them, it's definitely the biggest onions that I've ever grown inside. Onion starts at least. So let's see what the roots look like. Wow, those are fabulous. That is by far the best looking onion start that I have ever grown from seed. It's already got an onion started. The roots were not tangled at all. I would say this might be the only way that I start onions from seed again. Let me show you the comparison between the seed snail and what a pot looks like. So this pot is the same onions, started the same day, less germination for sure, and then let me dump it out and I will show you what the roots look like. So I'm just going to dump the whole pot out. So when you start them in a pot, notice what happens with all the roots. They get all intertwined, and this one isn't so bad because there's only there's only like a dozen onions in here. But when you get, 25, 30, 40 of them in one pot, the roots look worse. But, so this one I have to pull, give a little shake, and some of the roots break off that way. The bulbs themselves, they're okay sized. So this onion's from a seed snail, and this one's from the pot. So seed snails, definitely bigger, much more vibrant green tops. This will probably be my go-to going forward, growing them in some seed snails. The best way to plant an onion, so this is the green part, this is what will eventually be the big part that you would eat and cut up, and these are all the roots. So when you plant it in the ground, you want to leave most of this showing. If the soil gets pressed or too compressed around here, it restricts how big your onion will get. So let's pop it in the ground. I'm going to take my little stick here, gather all the roots, and just give it a shove on down till all the roots are in the ground. And then very ever so lightly put the soil down on the roots. So if you look down, you can actually still see some of the onion bulb. That's what we want.
I'm gonna let the sun shine in today. I'm trying to make this darkness go away. I'll paint with colors and I'll sing until my lungs give out. I'm gonna let the sun shine in